Picture this. Move-in morning, tenants arriving, badges not working, HVAC zones arguing, and Wi-Fi dropping. The closeout binder is 100 pages of diagrams no one can read, and nobody knows who to call. You lose credibility before breakfast. I'm Alex Morgan. Welcome to Built, Wired, and Secured. Today, we make closeouts actually useful, so operations don't inherit a mystery. Michael and James are here to push back, give practical rules, and share stories that stick.
From an operational standpoint, accountability goes first. When credentials fail or HVAC zones fight, tenants feel it instantly. If no one can point to the credential database or the network handoff, your team is guessing, and the vendor is already on their way out the door.
Right. So the question becomes, where does that accountability gap start? Is it timelines, assumptions, contracts? James, what do you see first when a project trips up at handover?
It's all of it together. Contractors deliver to a date. Operations inherits forever. Vendors assume facilities or IT will finish the story, and facilities assume the vendor handed over what they need. That assumption gap, there's your root cause. Reliability starts with disciplined maintenance, and if the handover is weak, you never get to disciplined maintenance.
But let me interrupt. Contracts aside, we also have a bad habit of dumping everything into an as-built pile. 50 PDFs, 10 wiring diagrams, and no single source of truth. That's fine until it fails. Then you don't want theory. You want one page that gets service back in 10 minutes. Tenants feel this immediately.
Wait, contracts. Aren't vendors supposed to deliver as-builts? Isn't that contractual?
Contracts say a lot. They rarely guarantee usable handovers. A PDF folder isn't the same as a verified runbook and a labeled spare on the shelf. That's why verification matters. Get sign-off against what operations actually needs, not what the contract text says.
Exactly. You don't need every tuning log in the first page. You need role-based outputs. One page for the frontline tech, restore steps, spare locations, who to call. One page for leadership, warranty, cost centers, critical failure impact. Then appendices for engineers who want full depth. Trust the process.
Practicality beats completeness in a crisis. But here's the tension. Too little detail and you recreate the problem. Too much and nobody reads it. How do you find that balance without handing ops a manual they'll ignore?
Start with what's essential to restore service. Frontline runbooks should answer 3 questions. What's failed? Where's the spare? And who's next on the hook? Keep language plain, steps numbered, and put part numbers and locations up front. Preventative maintenance beats emergency repairs every time.
And verify spares on site. Don't accept a "we'll ship it" promise. Have the vendor bring a tested spare, label it, and record that verification. That one step cuts emergency downtime and the frantic scramble for parts.
So verification, role-based runbooks, and spares. What about the human side? Knowledge walking out with the installer. Any roles to prevent that tribal knowledge drain?
2 practical steps. First, a joint walkthrough at closeout where the owner signs off on responsibilities. Second, capture a short vendor walkthrough video, 5 minutes of them explaining sequences and quirks. Store that in the ops workspace where people actually go every day. Video preserves tone and nuance that a PDF won't.
Also add a contact matrix, who to call, warranty owners, escalation timelines. Too many teams skip it and call the wrong person at 2 a.m. That wastes time and erodes confidence. Clear escalation paths matter as much as the technical docs.
Let's push forward. What are the long-term costs if teams skip verification and compact runbooks? Michael, paint the 3-year picture.
You get higher OPEX from repeated callouts, surprise capital expenses when undocumented gear fails, and frustrated tenants. From an operational standpoint, asset decay accelerates. Systems run until they fail because there's no verified baseline to maintain against.
And it eats trust. Tenants notice inconsistency in comfort or access, and that makes lease renewals and negotiations harder. Reliability isn't just technical. It's a tenant relations asset. Reliability starts with disciplined maintenance, and the handover builds that discipline.
Okay, 2 stories now. Michael, give us a short win. What looked different when a handover actually worked?
We had a retrofit where the team insisted on 3 things: a 1-page frontline runbook, a verified spare list with part numbers and labeled bins, and a clear network handoff map. The vendor stayed for the joint walkthrough and signed the checklist. 6 months later, an access controller failed. On-call tech used the runbook and spare on the shelf and restored service in 20 minutes. Tenants barely noticed.
20 minutes? That's impressive. Did you get any complaints?
Almost none. 1 help desk ticket that closed the same day. Contrast that with a building I saw where the closeout was 20 binders and an untested spare box. When a chilled water actuator failed, the spare was the wrong revision, and the vendor quote took 3 weeks. Tenants complained, and leadership took a reputational hit that could have been avoided with 5 verification steps.
Those 2 outcomes are the same line item, documentation, handled very differently. Trust the process, concise runbooks, verified spares, ownership sign-off. Preventative maintenance beats emergency repairs every time.
Before we close, give listeners 4 immediate actions they can adopt this week. James, start us off with 2.
1. Produce a 1-page runbook per system, written for the frontline tech. Steps to restore basic service, spare locations with part numbers and vendor contacts. 2. Capture a 5-minute vendor walkthrough video and store it where ops actually works.
3. Verify and label spares on site. Test them if possible and record the verification. 4. Hold a joint walkthrough and get owner sign-off on a compact handover checklist so responsibility isn't ambiguous. Those 4 steps cut most of the friction we see in the field.
Those are actionable right now. If you want a compact handover checklist with templates for runbooks, spare lists, and a joint walkthrough form, GDS Technology has a downloadable pack on the resources page. Grab it before your next closeout. And tell us what worked or what fell apart in your first year of operations.
Final thought. Don't wait for perfection. Start with usable, verified basics and iterate. That's fine until it fails, so make sure it doesn't.
Trust the process, concise role-based runbooks, verified spares, and a signed handover. Preventative maintenance beats emergency repairs, and the best day in operations is the one nobody notices.
That wraps up this episode of Built, Wired, and Secured. Today, we showed how practical handovers, concise runbooks, verified spares, accessible maps, and owner verification keep buildings reliable and protect capital. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, James. And thanks for spending these minutes with us. Until next time, make sure the systems you're responsible for are built to last, wired with intention, and secured for the real world.